Uh, Feeling much better, people. Just got a little stomach ache, but I'm getting better. I should be doing some live streams today. Um, Hopefully, I think my wife probably out trying to get some crabs. So for tomorrow, you know what I mean. I don't, y'all know I don't celebrate 4th of July, but I got a day off. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go ahead and eat some crabs or something. Chill out. Probably live stream too. I'll probably live stream as well. Um, I'm gonna try to go out and get my bed today. Um, but yeah. Anyway, people, let's talk about this boxing, man. Listen, man. I told y'all, me and my brother True got a new show coming out very, very soon. Uh, we're gonna be we got a boxing show coming out very, very soon. Matter of fact, today I'm gonna be in the editing room, uh, coming up with like ideas for this intro. I already got the intro uh uh song for it. So he sent to me. So I got that. So I'm gonna be in the editing room, fucking around with that today a little bit before I go live. Or I may do it when I may do it Monday or tomorrow, whatever day. But anyway, people, let's talk about this. Tank, y'all know he just knocked out Rolly Romero. Rolly still want a rematch. If I'm Tank, I'm not fighting Rolly again. Um, it's not because I think it was that much of a tough fight. I just think that if the money right, that should be like the last thing that, for me, for like my opinion for us Tank. Y'all know, everybody know I'm a big Tank fan. I'm a little biased because he's from the city, but I'm not that biased to tell the truth about my little bro. Right? Listen, um, if the Rolly fight, I don't want to see that shit again. I mean honestly, Rolly shouldn't have never been in the ring with Tank. I understood what they were trying to do to Tank. Floyd Mayweather think he's slick, but you know, um, glad Tank knocked his ass out. But Tank should not be fighting Rolly again. Tank, I mean, Rolly made a name off of Rolly. Rolly made a name off of Tank, and so he go try to get some other fights. Um, why you want to continue to keep fighting a dude? Uh, why you want to continue to fight a dude that does not bring anything to the table? That's just my opinion. Um, so I don't want to see that Rolly fight again. If it happens, it happens, but I don't want to see it. Tank need to, and I told everybody, and I'm gonna be hard on Tank this year. After I said after this Rolly fight, the rest of the year and in 2023, I don't want him seeing him fighting no dudes that don't deserve to be in the ring with him. And let me just say this once again: them belts don't mean shit. You look at Devon Haney, and every time them dudes they get those belts, and I'm gonna get to Devon Haney, but them belts don't mean shit. And so uh Tank should not be wasting his money on them fucking belts of fighting. You can fight those dudes. Listen, Tank is the cash cow. Okay, he's the guy at 135, at 130, and 140. From 130 to 130, from 130 to 140, everybody want to fight Tank because they know that's where the money is. They know that's where they're gonna get they shine at to get their publicity and up their resume, regardless if they win or lose. So Tank does not have to fight some of these guys, right? So Tank, and I said this, and I'm very, very serious about this. It's going to be very hard for him to get a fight with Lomachenko. This just is what it is. Um, you hear these motherfuckers talking about, oh, Lomachenko wanted to fight Tank Davis. That is not true. That is a lie. He ducked Devin Haney just like he ducked. And you know what? I'm not even gonna say Lomachenko truly ducked Tank. Bob Aaron was not gonna allow that shit to happen. People have to really realize that. People keep pretending that uh uh people like Tank that's in the place that where he is, that where he gotta sacrifice money to go fight these dudes in other promotions. He don't have to fucking do that. And if I'm Tank, for now on, I'm only taking one deal fights for now on. Regardless who my promoter is, who I'm signed to, I'm only taking 1 year deals. There's no more multi-million-dollar deals. It's time for Tank to do what Pretty Boy Floyd did and started being his own boss. And when he turned to Money Mayweather, it's time for Tank to do that. I don't want to see Tank in no multi-million-dollar deals with Floyd Mayweather, Bob Aaron, whoever it is, the zone. I don't want to see that shit. You your own boss now. I don't want to see you taking multi-million-dollar deals with promoters. 1 year deals. So fight whoever and whoever was willing to fight. That makes sense and make money. That's just plain and simple. And that's just how that shit got to be now. Because what I don't like is what I'm seeing is that everybody had a lot of fucking bullshit to say about Tank, about this whole Rolly shit. That wasn't his doing to a certain extent. I believe Tank felt like he was stuck and he had no choice but to fight Rolly because of the whole Mayweather shit. People behind the scenes, a lot of times people behind the scenes, they don't know behind the scenes. A lot of that shit with them promoters be on some other shit. You know what I'm saying? And people got to understand, sometimes you just got to rock with a promoter to get your money. Now, if you want to certify, get fights and shit like Devin Haney does, you let a motherfucker like George Kambosos, somebody that nobody fucking knew, you had to go all the way to his country and then take less money to get some belts because of some legacy shit. Listen, if the dude is about fighting you, he'll match you. You may, if you the champ or whatever it may be, you the guy right now. Yeah, you take a little bit more. You take 5 million or something like that more. But for Devin Haney to make $3 million and fucking for George Kambosos to make $10 million, that's bullshit. And he get a rematch clause. And he get a rematch for as a rematch clause. Like, nah, man, fuck out of here. I thought that shit was bullshit. I did not like that Devin Haney took that deal. Because to me he's stuck. Because I heard Devin Haney father, Bill Haney, out here like he on a power trip of like, oh, I'm tired of Tank calling Devin out. He didn't call Devin out. He said he want to fight Devin next. That's it. And I mean, if you want to call that a call out, you say whatever you want. But I don't hear Tank all on the internet calling Devin Haney out like that. He just said, hey, man, whoever went out of that fight, I want. Now, at the time, I don't think that Tank knew that he had a rematch clause. So that's why Tank called him out. But after that, you don't hear Tank calling Devin Haney out. So Bill Haney need to just chill the fuck out. He need to just chill out.
Daddy,
Yes. Yes.
I win.
Okay, good job. So I bought her a new game and shit. She like this Super Mario shit all of a sudden. My daughter be on other shit up. She on different shit every fucking week down there. So I had to buy a whole new game system. But yeah, Bill Haney need to chill the fuck out and stop letting that championship, them belts and shit go to his head. And it seemed like every time these dudes get these belts, if it came from Teofimo Lopez to George Kambosos, now Devin Haney, motherfuckers got big heads now. Like, dude, you did what you did. We proud of you. I'm proud of. Listen, I ain't got nothing against Devin Haney. I actually like Devin Haney. I like Bill Haney. So this is not no disrespect to even one of them, but they need to chill the fuck out. They're getting a little too much of a big head. because you was just around here begging for fights. Motherfuckers, listen, and I'm not gonna say begging, but people was ducking Devon, and Devon down there had to sacrifice money, put his career on the line, went all the way to a whole nother country where they was being racist and all that other type of shit just to be the guy, and then you still gotta go fight this dude again. So for me, I understand Devin and Bill, they happy about they beat George Kambosos. Um, but you know, humble yourself just a little tad. Okay? Now, let's get back to this Tank shit. Listen, Tank do not need to be fighting for no multi-million-dollar deals. Like no multi deals and shit like, you know, fight deals, multi deals. He should fight one fight deals for now on. Now, I don't take the whole Ron Garcia shit. I don't trust this dude. I think he a clown, think he a cornball. This dude don't want to fight nobody. He still just want to be he want to be he want to be Jake Paul or some shit like that. I don't know what the fuck. You know what I mean? I take Jake Paul a little bit more serious than I take Ron Garcia. So Ron Garcia, that fight with him and Tank, that's just a I don't know fight. You don't know if with Ron Garcia, one day he may feel a certain type of way, the next day he may feel another way. We don't know about this dude, man. So I don't take with that fight with him any serious. What up, True? Shout out to my brother True from New York. Um, Listen, man, I don't take Ron Garcia seriously at all. I think Ron Garcia is a goddamn fraud. He's out here wasting people time. He's a boxing troll, if you want to say that. The dude trolls all day. No, nobody got time for that shit. You gonna fight or you not? Nobody wants to hear that shit no more. Now, hey, True. I don't know if you trolling or you for real. Listen, you said that shit about Rolly. You said that shit about Rolly last fight with Tank. You said that Rolly was gonna beat Tank, and I told you he was gonna beat the fuck out of him. But hey, go ahead and pick Devin Haney. So um well, what I was saying for you threw me off and shit. Uh but yeah, the Ron Garcia shit, I don't know about that dude, man. He a boxing troll. You know what I'm saying? He troll all the boxers and shit. Hey, I ain't trying to hear that shit. You was out here, you know what I mean, pom pomming for Roly. Out now all of a sudden he get his ass whipped, he get knocked the fuck out with the stinky legs. He ain't had one stinky leg. He had stinky legs. Okay, now that his ass got knocked out, had the stinky legs. Now all of a sudden, oh, he ain't good enough. Nah, brother. No. I don't know what you got against Tank and shit, but no. Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. Oh shit. Yeah, listen, I bet you is gonna roll with motherfucking I bet you is gonna roll with Devin and shit. I don't know what you got to get my man Tank and shit, but hey, you do what you got to do. Next thing you know, you're gonna tell me Ron Garcia gonna beat Tank Davis. Come on, bro. But anyway, Rolly, I mean, Ron Garcia, I'm not paying him no motherfucking mind. I don't know if that fight happened or not because the dude be on vacation all the motherfucking time, and we can't take him serious. So right now, I'm just my honest opinion about Tank right now in his next fight. It's a very good possibility that he can fight. He could fight Devin Haney, but I would think the only way that he could fight Devin Haney, there's only two ways that one way that Tank can fight Devin Haney. Because he got a contract of a rematch with George Kambosos. Um, and that's most likely going to happen sometime around September or October, most likely. Um, or maybe by the end of the year. You never know with George Kambosos, because he's still in his feelings and shit, because he basically got embarrassed at home. You know what I'm saying, lost his belts and shit. So he might be still emotionally damaged. But anyway, shout out to Devon Haney for doing that, because I don't like George Kambosos. I believe George Kambosos is a fucking racist, him and his wife. And so, and people don't be really understanding about them Australian motherfuckers. A lot of them Australian motherfuckers is a bunch of racists. People keep forgetting these motherfuckers are Europeans. So anyway, um, the only way that he could fight Tank, if he give two things he could do. He could drop the belts and fight Tank at 140, right? And I'm not for sure if he dropped the belts. I think if he dropped the belts at 135, the undisputed belts, he can fight Tank at 135. It'd be a much bigger fight, believe it or not, to me, than him fighting George Kambosos. I'm not gonna watch that shit. And I mean, I ain't gonna say I'm not gonna say I ain't gonna watch that shit, but I'm not buying that shit. Yeah, I don't want to see that shit. And no lie to you, and there's no disrespect to Devon Haney, because his last two fights was very, 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 very good, and it had a lot of action in it. You know what I mean? Wasn't no knockouts or nothing, but it was. I grew to be more of a fan of Devon Haney in his last two fights. I mean, his last two fights before George Kambosos, when he fought Jojo Diaz and I forgot the other dude's name, but that was very good fights. Um, this last fight that he fought George Kambosos, and it's no disrespect to Devon Haney, not saying that he's not entertaining or nothing like that. That shit was boring to me. That was a boring ass fight, and I'm being honest, and I like Devon. That shit was boring, man. Um, it wasn't really nothing spectacular about it. George Kambosos didn't really come to fight. He was. It was then and he was scared to take risks, because he knew he couldn't outbox Devon Haney, and he didn't want to get embarrassed. But he wound up getting embarrassed because he wound up having a boring ass fight. He didn't get aggressive enough. Um, he can't. To me, he's not really nowhere on a level of Devon Haney boxing. So I don't know why the fuck George Kambosos even want this rematch. But anyway, so I guess he's just gonna go in there and try to brawl, and then he fuck around and get knocked out. But anyway, um, so that's one way. The other way is that if he give step aside money to George Kambosos and fight George Kambosos next on the top of the year next year in 2023, to fight Tank. Um, so they the only two ways. Devon Haney says that he wants to fight. See, and this is my problem with Devon about him fighting Tank. He wants to fight Tank at 140, because Devon Haney, I believe, this is just my opinion, the only way, this is what I think, let me just put it like this. This is what I think that Devon should do. Stop all the chitter-chatting with Tank right now, because you're not going to fight Tank right now. That's just not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't want it to happen right now, believe it or not. I want Devon Haney to go over and fight the rematch with George Kambosos, whip his ass, and come on the fuck back home. And then now you and Tank both are like free agents, boxers and shit with promotions. And then y'all get with any promotion y'all want that got the best money that can offer y'all that fight. And y'all can do that at the top of the year, next year, or somewhere in maybe, I say around in April or May or some shit like that. And that'd be one of the biggest fights starting off next year. You know what I'm saying? That's the best thing that should happen. And Tank go fight somebody. I'm gonna get the Tank who I think he should be fighting, who he should fight. But right now, I don't want to see the Tank and Devon Haney fight right now. Devon Haney got obligations to go over there and fight George Kambosos. Get that shit out of the way. Get away from Bob Arum. And I understood why you did get with Bob Arum for that fight, but you don't need to be over there. Get back to being a free agency. I mean, a free agent boxer. Because I just don't right now. I don't want to see that fight. I don't want to see Tank have to deal with Bob Arum and none of that shit. I don't want Tank dealing with that shit. Um, and I believe that they'll make even way more money after Devin Haney beat the shit out of George Kambosos the second time, and then they come back and he still got them belts. That'll make it big, because then now Devin Haney can say, "Hey man, I'm the best at 130. I'm 135. I'm the motherfucking guy. I got all the belts. I beat this dude twice. Everybody ducked me. I believe you was ducking me. Whatever. You can talk all your shit, because now you can talk your shit. And you can go to any promotional company and get that big money. You ain't got to settle for no little bit of ass $3 million to fight. You settle for $3 million to fight this bum ass dude, George Kambosos, and this motherfucker make more money than you because he had the belts. Even though nobody knew who the fuck he was, and still don't. And nobody gives a fuck about George Kambosos. Still right now. Okay? No lie to you. Even when he won the belts from Leo from Lopez, I still didn't give a fuck about George Kambosos. Mean nothing to me. Them belts don't mean shit to me. You still ain't better than Tank, and I still don't think he wasn't better than Devin. So, or you know what I mean, or Lomachenko. I still think Lomachenko is better than motherfucker George Kambosos. On real talk. But anyway, and I know damn well he ain't better than Shakur, so we're not even gonna do that. But anyway, so that's what Devin need to do, and then him and Tank can negotiate and make a deal to fight in like April or May or some shit, and it'll be a big fight. It'll be even bigger, man. They fuck around can do Vegas, sell the fuck out of Vegas. You know what I mean? But I believe they should just go somewhere where they can sell out a bigger venue, like they did in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So at the Barclays Center, I'm sorry. Or you know what I'm saying? Get some, neutral grounds. You know what I mean? Like that'd be, borderline neutral grounds. But do somewhere, go to Texas or some shit. I don't give a fuck where they go, but they get a bigger stadium. Motherfuckers is gonna go out and show out to go see that. I'm telling you, I will go see that. I was gonna go to the last Tank fight shit in New York, but I would definitely go and be at that motherfucker. Me and my man True, we'll go down there and see that fight. You know what I mean? Plus, it'll help out our new channel with content and shit. You know what I mean? Just to be there and stuff like that. But we'll definitely go. But that'll be a big fight. But I don't want to see that shit right now, just because of, Devin has obligations somewhere else. And I don't want nobody else in the way of this shit. You know what I mean? Or whatever. I ain't going to no goddamn Ravens game. You know damn well I don't even fuck with football. This nigga being funny now, this shit. But uh, but yeah, we not I don't want to see that fight right now. I believe it should happen next year. I think Tank should be fighting somebody else right now. I just think Devin need to just focus on George Kambosos to knock him out. And I mean, push his ass, get his ass out the way. We ain't got to deal with him no more, and let him go off. And because he got his big payday, that's the only big payday he gonna get. He got his little $10 million. He may get a little couple of more $1 million or some shit like that, and he be fine. Let him go in the sunset and retire some fucking way. I don't give a fuck about no George Kambosos. That's the dumbest fight ever. Like seriously, I don't even want to see this shit. With him and Devin Haney, believe it or not. And it ain't gonna really sell like that. I'm just telling y'all like that. It maybe sell over there where he, over in his country, but it won't sell here. I'm just telling you that now. Nobody wants to see that shit. But anyway, So the Tank, let's get the Tank. Um, Listen, man, I don't honestly, my honest opinion, it's probably some people that he could fight, but right now, Tank only there's only three people right now that he should be fighting. And I told you I'm gonna be hard on Tank for the until he start taking these big fights. I don't want to see Tank fighting no more. No, I don't want him fighting Diaz. None of them motherfucking dudes. I need Tank to be out here fighting. These only three fights I think he should be fighting. That makes sense, and maybe four. And that's on some on some DMV shit, right? I'm gonna start off with Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. maybe yes, fight him, but he's last on the list to be fighting. That's on some more of some rivalry shit from the DMV type shit. But that'll be a big major fight. But that's like last on my list that the person I want to see him fight. Uh, of course I want to see him fight Devon Haney, but I just like I said, I don't see that actually happening. I don't think it should happen right now. This year, I think it should happen next year. Um, so I don't see that happening. And that may be the last person I want to see him fight. And not because I think Tank is scared of him and none of that. It's just it doesn't make any sense really to me. Financially wise, I mean financially wise it would make some sense, but it just doesn't feel right. The fight feel right because Devin Haney got other obligations that he need to be taken care of. Because he got shit on the table that he need to take care of. It just they can make way more money. Put it like that. The money is okay, but they can this could be bigger next year, money wise, promotional wise. It could be way huger than what it is right now. Okay, it could be like the Spence and Terrence Crawford shit that's gonna happen this year. It could be the biggest. That could be the next biggest shit next year, like the Earl and Terrence shit this year. So um I think that fight is going. They going to fight. It's not like I don't think Tank going to duck him. I just think that it's the timing is not right. Um. So uh, I will put that fourth and put the Gary Russell Jr. fight at three. Number two, I will put Lomachenko there. But I just dealing with Bob Arum, man. I just don't know if that's gonna work either. I just and plus the shit going on over in the Ukraine and shit. We haven't heard enough about Lomachenko even coming back to boxing right now. Um, I mean, the man been out there, about time this Tank fight happened. This man probably been out of, haven't had a fight in a year. Um, I think Lomachenko like 35, 36 years old. You know, I you know, I just don't know. And like I said, it's mainly because the Bob Arum shit, and then you throw the Ukraine war going on with Russia. I just don't know if that's going to happen. The Ryan Garcia fight is probably the fight that I want to see Tank fight, but I just don't know about Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia played too many goddamn trolling games. He's the Takashi he's the Takashi 6ix9ine of boxing. Like just honestly, you know, he run his mouth, talk all that gangster shit, and he don't want to fight. And so I don't know if that's gonna happen. So the only fight that I know definitely could happen is the Gary Russell Jr. fight. Um, that's the fight that I know for a fact that can happen. And it would make more sense than him fighting Devon right now. But I know he could fight Devon too right now if 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 it all makes sense, right? If it all breaks down and Devon say he's gonna drop the belts or get step aside money. I told y'all that's the only two ways, but I just don't think it makes sense right now. The fight doesn't make any sense. It could be way bigger next year. You know what I'm saying? And it just doesn't make any sense. But I know that fight could happen. It can happen. But I think there's a more possibility that he could fight Gary Russell Jr. That's more of some shit that can happen right now. If Tank be like, look, I'm gonna fight Gary Russell Jr. right now. That's who I want to fight. That shit can happen right now. No, it ain't no. It's no. There's no rules in the block of that shit. Nothing can stop that fight. You get what I'm saying? But that's if Tank want that fight. Because it's at the end of the day, it's really up to Tank because Tank is the cash cow. None of these dudes are selling like Tank. And let's just be honest. They're not making the money that he's making. They're not selling out. They're not doing the big pay-per-views like Tank. And let's just be honest. And I love Devon, but he's not doing that. He's not selling out big arenas like Tank. He's not doing that. So a lot of these dudes, and let me just say this too, because you hear a lot of these boxing YouTube dudes, and they always say this shit, the ones that be hating on Tank. Listen, I don't hear Tank calling these dudes out like that. These dudes be calling Tank out. Every time Tank fights somebody or knock somebody out or have a fight that like the Cruz fight, it was like, oh, Cruz, all that goofy shit. They are doing that. Right? I mean, that's just natural back and forward shit, but I don't hear Tank calling these dudes out like that. The interviewers that they asked him, would you be wanting to fight these guys? He said, yeah, shit like that. But I don't hear Tank calling these dudes out other than Ryan Garcia because Ryan Garcia run his mouth too much, and and Tank knows that this dude don't want to fight him, but he calling them out, letting them know, like, hey man, you want to fight, we here. But Ryan Garcia don't want to fight Tank. He pretend that he does, but he doesn't. But Tank ain't ducking none of these dudes, man. I believe a lot of the promotion shit, behind the scenes shit that people don't know about, a lot of the times, you know, you know, when you have somebody as strong-minded as Floyd Mayweather and arrogant as he is, and he's about money, and he's your promoter, sometimes when you young like Tank is, and was young like Tank, you just trying to let him guide you. You know what I mean? You young, you don't know nothing really about the business and shit like that. And now the Tank been in this shit for almost 10 years, as a professional, right? You know, it's about time for Tank to take control of who he fights and who he doesn't fight. You know what I mean? He got enough experience behind him, with him. I mean, I said behind him, but with him. He has enough experience with him. He should be just taking these fights now. I mean, there's no reason for him not to. These guys, and I'm just gonna be honest about this. If Tank would have fought a couple of these dudes about 2-3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago, he'd have beat the fuck out of him. He probably would have knocked their ass out because they wasn't young, they wasn't as experienced as they is the Devon Haneys of the world, the Ryan Garcias, a whole bunch of them, right? And they start to come in. They're starting to come into their body, right? And Tank would have beat the shit out of them. Motherfuckers, oh, you beat them, they was young and all this other shit. It been all these excuses. That's why I said sometimes we want to see everybody want to see certain fights and shit, but sometimes some of these guys ain't mature enough to be fighting like somebody like Tank. And maybe even Tank, to a certain extent, wasn't mature enough to have this fight yet. I want to see these dudes down there in their prime. Tank right now is in his prime, believe it or not. Devon Haney, it's just starting to come into his body. He's not even in his prime yet. These dudes are still young. So a lot of times, everybody want to see fights, and a lot of times these dudes not ready. You know what I mean? So Tank will be all right, man. Like he just, like I said, the most accurate fight, the most fight that most likely probably possible that can happen is probably Gary Russell Jr. And then if Ryan Garcia stop hiding and trolling and shit, stop trying to beat Tekashi 6ix9ine of boxing and shit, that fight definitely can happen. But the Lomachenko fight, I don't know if that can happen because of Bob Arum and the war going on in Ukraine and Russia. Excuse me. In the Devin Haney fight, it can happen, but it doesn't make any sense right now. It just doesn't to me. I don't think him and Devin should be fighting right now. They should wait the next year to fight. After Devin take care of his business with George Kambosos, you are obligated to go take care of somebody. I mean, take care of your business. And to see Bill Haney and Devon Haney get real gangster, like they, all of a sudden they tough guys. Like I ain't saying they tough guys, but that tough guy talk shit. They all act that like they mad, Tank calling them out and shit like that. Like these niggas, they listen to too much of the media too much sometimes too, be on the internet too much instead of just focusing on what handling their business. That's what I did. I do like about Bill Haney and Devin Haney is that they take care of business, but they ain't with the too much of the trash talking and shit like that unless they have to say some shit. But they usually humble dudes, and just I seen Bill Haney wilding out and shit, man. I'm like, man, come on, man, that's you get out of character, about Bill Haney, man. Come on, man. Then Devin talking about, well, why I dropped the belts to come fight, or if you want to fight, like, dude, like, do what you got to do then. Do what you got to do. But handle your business first. I mean, you gonna drop the belts to fight Tank, but then you talking about, oh, you only want to fight Tank at 140. No. The man said he comfortable at 135. You gonna fight him at what? Listen, he not fighting you at 140 because he's not moving up to 140 right now. I don't think Tank probably will ever go to 140, but he may later on in his career. Maybe, the weight be a little, him making the weight be a little too much for him, but it may not be. But he's comfortable at 135. He even said he ain't even gonna go back down to 130 because I'm not comfortable at that weight. I didn't see when he fought the dude Cruz that he knocked out at 130. I looked at that fight. Tank looked at drained. And plus he was just coming from 140 and he went all the way down to 130, skipped the whole weight class, went down to 130. I would no lie to you. Cause I watched Tank. And I know when Tank at his best. Okay? Listen, I didn't like that fight. Even though he knocked out Cruz, it was a bad fight because that's probably the worst I have seen Tank fight. It seemed like he like, look, it's just me looking at that fight. And I watched that fight again. Tank knew he was bigger, a bigger puncher. I don't think he just thought he was just bigger. Tank knew he was a bigger puncher. And Tank looked so drained to me. Right? Because I didn't seen Tank in fights where he doesn't look as tired. Like, you know what I mean? He looked at tired by like the third round or some shit. And I was like, yo, this don't look good for Tank. Tank can fuck around lose this fight if he keep going the distance with this dude. It was no way impossible Tank was going to beat this dude if the fight kept going. Because I just think Tank was drained. He ain't had no energy to me really like that. And he just didn't look body wise. He just didn't look good to me. Come from 140 down. He just didn't look good. And he just had this fight with Mario Barrios. That's a psyche that could fuck with you too, because I believe Tank didn't really want to fight Mario Barrios. My honest opinion. I watched the press conferences. I don't think he wanted to go up to 140. I believe that the promotion company, Floyd Mayweather and them, was pushing them to go up to 140 because of, I think before that, I don't know if, a couple of fights or two, Tank, he was missing weight and shit. And I think that they was trying to, like, look, you're going to be missing weight. Like, let's just see how you feel at 140. I think that was an experiment that Floyd and them forced Tank to do. Believe it or not, to go to 140 and fight Mario Barrios. Believe it or not, to see how he felt. Yeah, his power was still there, but them dudes are big, man. Mario Barrios was a big ass 140. So, and I'm talking about height wise. And he was ready to move up. You notice he moved right up after he fought Tank. So he was like drained himself to make 140. So it was just one of them experiment type of fights. And I know I looked at it personally. Tank ain't really want to be in that fight. He didn't really want to fight that fight. No lie to you, I was very scared for Tank in that fight. That's probably the only fight that I was very, very afraid that he could get knocked the fuck out because that dude was big as shit. Mario Barrios was big, and I was afraid for him in that fight, but I still picked him because I just thought I just rocked with Tank. So um I didn't think Tank was going to knock him out. I no lie to you, I thought Tank was going to box the shit out of him, but I didn't see Tank knocking him out. But he did. He knocked him out. But that was an experiment, and then he went down almost 2 weight classes to fight fucking Cruz. And I looked at that fight like, yo, this nigga looked drained. Like, yo, what the fuck are you doing going all the way down to fight this dude? Like, go back down to 135 and then go back down to 130 and fight this dude. But I guess it was a fight that he was supposed to have a while ago, but whatever happened, he got injured or whatever, and that's why the fight never happened. But I didn't like that fight either. I just thought that Tank looked bad. He does the worst fight I seen Tank ever fight, honestly, in his professional career. I thought that was the worst fight he ever fought. And so, Tank ain't had no choice but to knock him out because he would have lost that goddamn fight. Tank would have lost that fight to Santa Cruz, whatever the fuck his name is. Well, he'd have lost that fight if that shit would have kept going the distance. They would have kept going. So Tank had no choice but to knock him out. It was a close fight, but I think to me at the time it could have been even, or the dude could have been up around. But it just was a bad fight to me. That was the worst. I didn't like that fight. I thought Tank was really not getting his ass whipped, but he was getting hit way too much normally than he usually do. And so I didn't like that fight. And then he went back to 35, and he's been there ever since. So Devon, his body is filling out and shit, and he's ready to move up to 140 because he's getting too big for that weight, and it's starting to take a toll on his body, and that's fine. But you can't ask Tank to go up to 140 when the man just told you, I don't feel comfortable at 140. I don't feel good at 130. I'm comfortable at 135. If you want to fight him that bad, you're going to fight him at 135. But if you're going to fight him at 135, handle your goddamn business with George Kambosos. And then y'all had a fight in 2023. So all this rah-rah talk from the Haney family and shit, from Bill and Devon, I don't want to hear that shit. Just go in and finish your obligations with George Kambosos and then fight Tank at 135 next year. And then after you fight Tank, if you beat him or you don't beat him, then move the fuck up. That's just how that goes. It's not complicated. All this rah-rah, this gangster talking shit, I'm sick of that shit. And then you running around acting like Tank's scared to fight you. That is not. And then let me just explain something to everybody, because everybody got this shit twisted about boxing. Everybody can get gotten sparring. Everybody can get gotten sparring. You could just have an off day in sparring. That's why you spar, right? So the first thing was Tank actually got the best of Devon Haney. This is the story. The second fight, what they don't tell you, right? No, let me get to that. Devon Haney won the sparring. The second one, right? Now, what they don't tell you in that second sparring that they did with Devon and Tank was Floyd Mayweather was in the ring pulling on Tank arms and shit, interfering in the sparring because Tank was whipping his ass. And it pissed Tank off so bad to the point, and Devon Haney was starting to get the little best of him because Floyd Mayweather kept fucking with him, you know what I mean? And it pissed Tank off so bad, he fucking quit and got out the ring. Because it wasn't because Devon Haney was whipping his ass, it was because Floyd was doing some bullshit. But I believe Floyd wasn't doing it on, I can't say that. I don't know if Floyd was doing that shit on purpose because he liked it, Devon, or he was testing Tank mental. We don't know. But that's what happened in them two sparrings. Then Tank's called Devon again and say, "Hey man, let's spar again." Devon Haney told him, "No, I'm nobody's sparring partner. If we gonna fight, we gonna fight for real in a boxing match. If I'm Tank, I would have took it. But like I said, you gotta think about at the time when this shit happened. Devin Haney was a nobody. Let's just be honest. Tank Davis was up and coming. They probably could have fight, but it wouldn't have made no sense. It make more sense now, but it wouldn't have made no sense them fighting. You know what I'm saying? But that's what happened in that sparring shit. And then, like I said, everybody can get got in the spar. Motherfuckers don't tell you. Floyd Mayweather, damn near Earl Spence beat the fuck out of motherfucking Floyd Mayweather in the sparring. They say Earl Spence was the only person that ever gave Floyd Mayweather issues in sparring, ever in his whole career. So anything can happen. Do I think that Earl Spence could probably beat Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match? Earl in his prime, Floyd in his prime? No. And I like Earl Spence. That's my guy. Him and Tank is my guys. But no. Hell no. Not in a boxing match. No. Not in a real true boxing match where you out there boxing. Sparring is just you throwing punches and shit. You're not really boxing. You just sparring the motherfucker. You throwing punches, trying to find, you practicing damn near. That's what sparring is. It's practice. Anybody can bust your ass in practice. But you get to the game, you get to the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? But that's how that shit goes, man. And far as Tank and shit, man, I just think Tank he got, like I said, fight Gary Russell Jr. That seems more uh uh reasonable that a fight that can happen. And then maybe Ron Garcia, that's possible if he stopped trolling like Tekashi 6ix9ine. Um, and then maybe Lomachenko on that list. The Devin Haney shit, this just shouldn't happen at all. And so that's it with Tank. I don't want to see Tank fighting nobody other than those guys. Honestly. Because you are definitely, you are right now in the driver's seat. You are the fucking guy. You are the cash cow. You are the guy. Everybody want to sign you. You make motherfuckers want to sign you every fight. You know what I mean? Make all the promoters want to sign you for a one deal fight. You do that. You don't sign multi deals unless you want a rematch, and it's going to be skeptical if you fight somebody you maybe want a rematch. If you lose, you think you would lose a fight, but against somebody. But other than that, nah. Tank Sean be fighting one deal fights. He shouldn't be fighting multi deals fights. He shouldn't. Sorry. Now let's get into this Earl Smith shit and Terrence Crawford shit. First of all, let me just say this. I'm gonna say it out the gate. I am a Earl Spence fan. That's my guy. So I'm a little biased. Not gonna lie to nobody. But the one thing I'm not gonna do is uh they I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm so I'll be honest up front about that. But the one thing I won't do is be too goddamn biased to the point where I don't give another fighter their props or some shit like that. You get what I'm saying? I give the props to the fighters. I don't discredit fighters because I'm not a fan of them or I'm a fan of another fighter. So let's just get into this shit about Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence fight. Listen, and I said this a while ago about Terrence Crawford. I get it that he want the big payday, because I believe after this fight he won't get another big payday. And I'm being dead honest about that. Unless he wins. Unless he beat Earl Spence Jr., Terrence Crawford is not getting another fucking big payday ever. And I'm being dead serious about that. But being dead serious about this. And let me just explain something to you. Unless he fights Boots. Unless he fights Boots. Right? That's the only way he may not see another big payday like this. I just don't think that. But anyway, um, listen, let's just be very, 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 very honest about this, about Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is very overrated. He's very overrated. And the reason because I never said this before, because I don't have nothing personally against Terrence Crawford, because I actually think Terrence Crawford is a great fighter. But he's overrated. His resume is overrated. He really hasn't fought anybody at 147. He done fought all of Earl Spence Jr. leftovers. Earl Spence then went to war with Sean Porter. He not Sean Porter. Sean Porter ain't been the same since Earl Spence. Like, let's be honest. He looked like trash after he fought like one fight after that. He looked like trash. I don't think he really fully he was in retire mode when he was going to fight Terrence Crawford. And anytime anybody like get into retirement mode or be like, oh, this kind of like my last fight, a lot of people don't get up for those fights. A lot of boxers don't get up for those fights if they know, especially if they know after this fight they done. They already kind of made that decision before a fucking fight. Like, yo, they're not mentally all the way gonna be there. So that whole Sean Porter fight was bullshit to me. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Earl Spence already done went to war with him. That was the best Sean Porter I have seen in all his fights. I believe my honest opinion about Sean Porter. You listen, is he a Hall of Famer? Yes, but I always thought Sean Porter is not a boxer. He's a fighter. He's not a boxer. He's a fucking fighter. He's a brawler. He get in there. He remind me of Tim Bradley. I never liked the Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley style was bullshit, just like motherfucking Sean Porter style of fighting. It's bullshit. I never liked this Sean Porter. I don't like Sean Porter face. Like, seriously, honestly. But Sean Porter, whatever, man. So that fight to me don't mean shit. Who he fought at before that? Fucking who the fuck did he fight? And see that, and that's my issue. Like with Terrence Crawford, you fought a glass jawed, glass chin, Amir Khan that had just got knocked out maybe 2 fights before to Canelo Alvarez. That motherfucker was punch drunk. Come on, bruh. You fought Gambosa's. Gambosa's was probably your toughest fight. And he hurt you in there. And he was a 140, 130, 35er. Okay. Tank knocked his ass out too. I mean, he fought Jeff Horn. Everybody know Jeff Horn. Basically, the judges robbed Manny Pacquiao and gave that belt to motherfucking Jeff Horn. And let me ask you a question. Have y'all heard anything about Jeff Horn ever since then? Ever since he fought Terrence Crawford? No. I didn't even know who the fuck Jeff Horn was when he fought Manny Pacquiao. I was like, who the fuck? Manny Pacquiao must be falling off. Who is this motherfucking Australian? This European? I mean, nobody knew the fuck who Jeff Horn was. Till they stole the judges stole the belt from stole a win from Manny Pacquiao and gave him the belt. Nobody knew who the fuck Jeff Horn was, man. So listen, Terrence Crawford, come on, bro. Then who else he had fought? Can we name some people he fought that people fucking know? No. He's fighting random dudes, man. Nobody know who the fuck these dudes are. The only person on his resume at 147 that you know of is motherfucking Sean Porter. And Sean Porter, to me, is overrated. Just like Tim Bradley was overrated. So you had two overrated ass niggas in the ring with each other. Sean Porter was ready to retire. I'm just saying here, people. Who the fuck has Terrence Crawford foot? I get it. He unified the titles at 140. Bravo, give him respect for that. I didn't even know who the fuck Terrence Crawford was a couple of years ago. I'm just being honest. I knew about Earl Spence before I knew about Terrence Crawford. And I started fucking with Terrence Crawford. I don't know if it was the Lamont Peterson fight. I think it was before that. I think he fought Cal Brooks. I think it was the Cal Brooks fight. That's when I started fucking with Earl Spence. That's when I knew about him. Maybe it might have been a fight before. I think he fought the white boy. I forgot who his name was. So like, I think it was the white boy that I forgot his name because he fought Manny Pacquiao too. I can't remember his name, but yeah, but I can go down his resume of the guys that he been fighting. Earl Spence fought Kel Brooks when Kel Brooks was down in his prime or get ready to come out his prime. He fought Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson was probably maybe a little bit way over the hill a little bit, but he still had a pop. He still could fight. And you gotta remember, a lot of these people that Earl Spence was fighting, like Lamont Peterson and shit, he couldn't get fights because people was ducking him. Earl Spence was the boogeyman. Nobody wanted to fight Earl, so he fought a stablemate, so a friend of his, which was Lamont Peterson. Fuck Lamont Peterson up. Okay. Then I think he fought Mikey Garcia. Now people say, well, he moved up to 147. Listen, the man was fighting at 140. He decided he called Earl Spence out. He said that Earl Spence had some he seen something in Earl Spence armor that he could take advantage of. But Earl Spence wasn't a boxer. Earl Spence took his ass to school. Motherfucker, I can box. I'm not just a fighter. I can box. I'm a fighter boxer or a boxer fighter. However you want to look at it, what you want to call him. But Earl can box. He had to prove that to Mikey Garcia. So he beat the dog shit out of Mikey Garcia. Mike Garcia ain't been the same since. And Earl ain't even knock him out. All right. Then I think right after that, I think he fought, because I think after that fight, he wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao. But like I said, Bob Erm being aware of that, a lot of that shit, that's why that fight didn't happen. Excuse me. So he wound up fighting Sean Porter. Right? So him and Sean Porter wound up fighting. Him and Sean Porter went to war. That was the best fight I ever seen Sean Porter fight. My honest opinion. And believe it or not, Earl Spence said, I ain't, because he was like, don't run around the ring or some shit like that, because there was a lot of trash talking from, both sides, but mainly from Sean Porter because he wanted to sell a fight. And he didn't really like Earl Spence either. So, they didn't really kind of like each other. But Earl said, I ain't running. Earl said, I'm going to fight your fight. I'm going to stand right there with you. Earl went from boxing the motherfucker to death to turning around, fighting and brawling with Sean Porter. One of his roughest, toughest fights, I believe, other than Kel Brooks. Because Kel Brooks gave uh um Earl a run for his money. It was actually a very good fight. Actually, it was actually an action packed fight, and he was giving Earl some problems with that jab because one thing about Kell Brooks, he had a good jab. He had a great jab. He jabbed the fuck out of motherfucking uh uh um fuck is his name Terrence Crawford, and then Terrence Crawford adjusted and took his ass out, right? But look, you gotta think about it. Kell Brooks was already got beat the fuck up by motherfucker Earl Spence. He wasn't the same. All these dudes that Terrence Crawford been fighting, his leftovers, Sean Porter, Kell Brooks, they them niggas wasn't the same after they fought Earl Spence. They wasn't the same. None of those fighters. All right, so he fights Sean Porter. He brawls with Sean. He fights and brawl with Sean Porter. One of the best fights of the year at that time. Then he gets in a car accident. Motherfucker could have died. Fucked a lot of shit up on him. He comes back maybe a year, half later, maybe I think. And then he fights Mikey Garcia. He did not. Danny Garcia. He didn't have to fight Danny Garcia right away. He could have had a tune-up fight, but he didn't do that. He went straight for the guy that called him out after he fought Sean Porter. He got in the ring and they, blah 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 talk. And he was Spence mandatory. So Earl could have came back, did a tune-up fight, but his tune-up fight was Mikey Garcia. Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia no pushover. I seen in that fight Danny Garcia hit Spence with some fucking shots that he wouldn't. Those type of shots would normally fuck some dudes up. And I done seen Danny hit motherfuckers with those shots. But he beat the dog shit out of motherfucking Danny Garcia. Beat the shit out of Danny Garcia so bad, Danny Garcia been out for almost 2 years. And then made him move up to 154. And we'll see how he looked at 154 with Benavidez. We'll see. He say he good. He say in good shape. He mentally better, but it took something out of him. Set his ass on the shelf for 2 years. That's what Earl Spence do to people. Then Earl, after that, got the little shit with his eye. He was going to fight Manny Pacquiao, which I believe that you thought Ugas retired his ass. Earl Spence would have retired his ass. You see what Ugas did to motherfucking Manny Pacquiao? That motherfucker boy couldn't eat. Motherfucker, look, Ugas beat the shit out of motherfucking Manny Pacquiao. and listen, motherfuckers underrate motherfucker Ugas' power. And he a big dude too. And he wasn't like, he beat the fuck out of Manny Pacquiao. He fucked Manny Pacquiao up. Manny Pacquiao, his wife had to feed him nigga for at least a month. So just imagine what Earl Spence would have did to this motherfucker, man. Earl probably could have killed him in that ring. And I wouldn't have it. I don't wish that on no fighter. But Earl could have fuck around killed Manny Pacquiao in that ring. If Ugas did that to him, fuck you think Earl would have did to him? And Earl hit harder than Ugas. Ugas got power, but he don't hit like Earl. Now, so Ugas beat the shit out of Manny Pacquiao, retires him. Everybody knows what Ugas did to Manny Pacquiao, Earl Spence would have fucking around did worse to him. We all know that. We're not even going to bullshit around. And that's old Manny Pacquiao. But, salute to Manny Pacquiao. You know what I mean? Retire, don't bring your ass back. Nobody want to see your old ass. I think you like 40 years old. Chill the fuck out, man. Start spending all your money and shit. But anyway. So he fights Ugas at it coming off an eye injury. Injury. Everybody talking that shit. Earl ain't the same. He got an eye. I don't know. Ugas gonna beat him up. Gonna fuck him up. Blah, blah, blah. Earl comes back, beat the dog shit out of the same dude that just beat the dog shit out of Manny Pacquiao. Earl comes back months later. The Ugas beat the shit out of Manny Pacquiao. Come back 6 months later. And Earl Spence beat the dog shit out of Ugas. Beat the dog shit out of him. He ain't dog walk him. He beat the dog shit out of him. Ugas got sent to the hospital like Ugas sent motherfucking Manny Pacquiao to the hospital. And everybody kept saying Earl was bigger than Ugas. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Ugas big as shit. Ugas was like at least 5'10" out that bitch. He was a big dude, man. He was big as shit. And he could hit. And he got power. Because when he was hitting Earl with some of them shots, I was like, damn. I didn't even like how Earl was fighting him. I was like, box this nigga, hit that nigga with the jab. You a better boxer than him. But Earl wanted to prove something. I'm back, motherfucker, and I'll walk motherfuckers down. I don't give a fuck how big they is. Because everybody kept talking about how, Ugas looked big. And Earl, the only way he was going to beat Ugas, he could have outboxed him too. But I believe somebody like Ugas, you got to beat him up. You got to beat the dog shit out of him. And even though Earl was whipping his ass, he wasn't going to quit. That's why I salute the Ugas. He wasn't going to quit. He beat the dog shit out of Ugas. Now, let me just explain something to everybody. This is where I'm getting at. This is my point about this Terence Crawford and Earl Spence fight. All the old hating ass legendary boxers hating on Earl Spence. You rocking with Terence Crawford, whatever. Okay? Let me explain something to you motherfuckers. And to Terence Crawford too. I hope you listening, Terence Crawford and Terence Crawford fans. If Terence Crawford stupid enough, and I mean stupid enough, to sit in the pocket with Earl Spence Jr. I'm gonna go back. I'm sorry. Earl the Truth Spence Jr. If he's dumb enough to sit in the pocket and brawl and fight Earl Spence Jr., Earl Spence is going to put his ass in the hospital. He will retire Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford will never be the same again if he sits in the pocket with Earl Spence Jr. I'm just warning you. I'm telling you, you can pick Terence Crawford all you want, and anybody else, the Terence Crawford fans, you can pick him all you want. You can kiss his ass. You can overhype this dude because I think he's overrated. If this dumb motherfucker sits in the pocket and brawls with Earl Spence Jr., he's going to get fucked up. He's not going to get dog walk. He's going to get the dog shit beat out of him. He will never be the same. And I'm telling y'all that. Y'all playing with... Listen. Stop pumping this dude head up. Stop pumping Terence Crawford head up. I'm telling y'all. And listen, Terence Crawford, nobody's saying you scared of Earl because I would never say that. But I'm telling you, if you dumb enough and stupid enough, and Terence Crawford fans, if y'all keep pumping his head up to make him be stupid, to sit in the pocket with Earl Spence Jr., you are going to get this man severely hurt. He will never be the same again. And he got kids. I don't want nothing. I want this dude to come out okay so he can take care of his kids. Earl Spence is gonna fuck this dude up if he's sitting in the pocket with him. I believe Earl gonna fuck him up anyway, but he has a better chance of not getting hurt, devastated and hurt if he box Earl. But if he's sitting in the pocket and he brawl with Earl Spence Jr., he's gonna get hurt, and I mean badly hurt. This ain't Sean Porter. This ain't Jeff Horn. This ain't a fucked up Kell Brooks. This is Earl Spence Jr. in his prime. And you're playing? You're trying to play tough instead of being smart? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Terrence Crawford and Terrence Crawford fans. Keep boosting this overrated ass nigga up. Keep on. He's overrated, believe it or not. He ain't been in the ring with nobody like Earl Spence Jr. Earl actually been in the ring with somebody like Bud Crawford that hit harder than Bud. And I'm telling y'all that now. Earl, listen. First of all, Terrence Crawford, listen, I have never seen Earl Spence hurt. Even when Ugas hit him. Because actually Ugas hit him like Floyd Mayweather hit motherfucking Victor Ortiz. You know what I mean? Because his hands was down and shit. And boom, hit him with a straight power shot. Earl wasn't hurt. You can get buzzed or some shit. Like somebody can buzz you, hit you with a good shot, and you're like, damn. But I have never seen Earl hurt in no fights. Even when he fought Kell Brooks, I never seen him hurt. He just got rocked. I seen him get rocked before. I know that's why I know Earl can take a punch. Listen, let me explain something to you. Terrence Crawford has never got hit by somebody like Earl Spence Jr. I'm telling y'all that now. Y'all sit out here and boost this dude head up, acting to go in there, the brawl with motherfucking the truth, Earl Spence. You'll see what happened. I'm already betting on the fight, so I ain't tripping out that shit. Listen, man, I'm just telling y'all, man. This nigga Terrence Crawford is overrated. I'm sick of the tactics. I'm sick of this dude. You're out. It's almost like he's intentionally trying to fuck this fight up by asking for crazy money. Listen, I get it. Everybody consider you the pound for pound best, whatever. I don't believe it. I think you overrated. You're looking for your big payday. I get it. This is one of the biggest fights. This is the biggest fight in your career ever. Earl Spence has plenty of those. This ain't the biggest fight of Earl Spence's career. People try to pretend like it is, but it's actually not. It's actually not. What up, Trip? Yeah, listen, Anthony. Listen, I'm trying to tell motherfuckers, man. Earl Spence, that's different power. And Earl ain't got like this one hitter quitter type of power like that. He got his fucking hands. Listen, this dude breaks you down. He doesn't. I don't listen. He got a one hitter quitter if he catch you flush. Yeah, but everybody know when you fight Earl Spence Jr., you gotta have some defense. That's why you seen Ugas had that like his arms up, that face guard arms up type defense. He felt Earl power. He knew what Earl power was. Go watch a lot of Earl Spence fights. Other than this, the only motherfucker I seen that could like really sit there and really kind of take some shots. But then when his ass got hit flesh, his ass went down. And I give props to Sean Porter. Sean Porter, only dude. Sean Porter. Because I didn't see too much defense from Sean Porter that fight. I think that was just a wild, weird ass fight to me. But that was the only person. Danny Garcia, Kell Brooks, you go down the line. Mikey Garcia, Lamont Peterson, Kell Brooks. I said Kell Brooks. Even Aguilar dude. I think that's the dude's name. The white boy. Those dudes knew when they felt Earl Spence power, bro. They had defense up. They didn't sit there and try to throw shots with Earl Spence too much like that. And maybe Kell Brooks stood there a little bit. He took some shots. But he played defense like a motherfucker. Listen, Bud don't even have that great of a much fucking defense. That's why I say he's overrated. People be overrating this dude, man. His defense ain't all that, dude. All that. He ain't fought nobody. Listen, Earl Spence fought people better than Terrence Crawford to me. But listen, I ain't gonna say better. I'll say this. He's fought better competition. Way more better competition that prepares. He done fought all types of dimensional great fighters than Terrence Crawford ever fought. He got a out of his prime, should have been retired. Kell Brooks. Kell Brooks was brutally beat up. Earl Spence broke the man's esophagus, man. Like, come on, man, broke the other side of his eye. Get the fuck out of here, man. And then Terrence Crawford go in there and knock him out, man. He was already punch drunk, man. Get the fuck out of here. You know that man wasn't the same after Earl Spence. He haven't fought nobody. I'm telling y'all, Terrence Crawford is overrated. I didn't think I would never ever say that, but I didn't went back and I watched his fights. I went back and watched all the fighters that he fought. And then I went back and I watched all Earl Spence competition and the people he fought. Listen, man. It ain't even really got nothing to do with that Spence is just bigger than him. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's the competition. Earl Spence fought better competition than he did. And then when he did fight people that that Spence fought, niggas, Sean Porter was ready to retire. Believe it or not, Sean Porter looked drained. Believe it or not, this is my honest opinion. That was the first time I ever seen Sean Porter look drained like that. Like he was struggling to make that damn weight. He looked, when I used to see Sean Porter fight, he looked more muscular, more muscle on him. To me, in a lot of his fights, right? He was ready to retire, and then Kell Brooks was like, this nigga, both his eyes been broke. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Hey, come on. Earl Spence beat the fuck out of him, man. Made him quit. Fuck out of here, man. Earl Spence broke his other eye. Oh, you knock Kell Brooks out after he done got both his eyes broke. And Earl broke one of them. But Earl breaks his motherfucker other eye and make him quit. He had no choice but to quit. He just beat the shit out of Ugas, broke all types of fractionals and ribs and all types of shit with a bigger dude than him. Fucking Ugas looked like he came in that fight weighing like 160. He looked like a 160 pounder. I swear to you not. Matter of fact, he looked at the same size as Charlo at 154. That's what Ugas looked like he came in at. And that's no lie. Go back and look at how big fucking Ugas look. Come on, man. That man broke that man ribs, eyes. Fucked the shoulder up. Put a hole in his lungs. Go ahead, Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford fans, go ahead out there and boost this overrated ass nigga resume, having ass nigga up. Keep boosting him up and let him go ahead in there and sit in the pocket and get the dog shit beat out of. He gonna hurt Terrence Crawford real bad. And I don't want to see that to happen to that brother, because that brother got a family to feed and he got to be around for his kids. Okay? I don't want to see that happen to him. But if he's stupid enough to go in there thinking he can go in there and go shot for shot with Earl Spence Jr., he got a fucking rude awakening waiting for his ass. Fuck out of here. Trying to tell y'all, man. When I heard that shit, I said, Terrence Crawford out his goddamn mind. He is really feeling himself. He is really feeling himself. And I get it. This is the big one of the, this is the biggest fight of his career. The biggest. He has never had a big fight like this ever. Not even close to it. Even when he unified that shit at 140. Man, nobody know who the fuck Terrence Crawford was back then. I know I didn't. I didn't even know they had a 140, nigga. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all, man. I knew about the 135 or some shit, but I didn't even know about 140. That's how irrelevant the 140 division is. And it was, and it still is. Nobody know what the fuck going on now. I mean, I know a little bit now, but, come on. I know about some of the fighters down there and shit. But come on, man. I'm not even gonna beg Terrence Crawford not to go in there and go head fight straight up with get in the pocket with Earl Spence. I'm not gonna beg him. I'm just gonna say it'd be stupid. It'd be very stupid of him to go in there and do that shit. At least go in there and make it competitive. Don't go in there trying to fight this dude. Listen, man. All right, yo. Listen, Terrence Crawford. Listen, you go in there and Terrence Crawford and keep boosting him up. He go in there and he fucking around and he going listen. You thought he beat the shit out of Ugas. You thought he beat the shit out of Ugas. If Terrence Crawford sitting there, listen. If Terrence Crawford sitting in the pocket with Earl Spence Jr., his ass going night. He going night, nigga. First round, he get knocked the fuck out. I'm telling you. Listen. Terrence Crawford can't even really take body shots. He ain't been hit by by Earl Spence. He haven't been hit by a fighter like that. I'm telling you. Earl Spence is different. That's different. That's country. That's country strength. Like that nigga, that's country boy, man. Come on, man. Don't listen, man. Earl Spence got heavy hands, man. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. It's almost like I be trying to tell people about Tank. Like, listen, Tank, his power is not just the power of his shit, right? It's that he's heavy-handed. He's heavy-handed. And then now you add on his IQ, then you add on to how fast he is with this power. He got power in both hands. He's heavy-handed. He has speed. Listen, Devon Haney can box, but he don't have no fucking power. He has just enough to keep dudes off. He got the Floyd Mayweather time. Even Floyd had a little power at 140. When he was Pretty Boy Floyd. But when he moved up, a lot of that power went away. Devon Haney will listen, I like Devon Haney. I believe it'll be a great fight, but Devon Haney will fuck around. Listen, I don't know if Tank will knock him out. Because, like, now I'm at the point with Tank. It's like, I don't need Tank to knock niggas out no more. I just need Tank to learn, just to keep every day growing, learning how to box. We know he got the power. It's not, we don't question that. Ain't nothing to question. I'm about to get out of here, people. I think my phone is overheating. I got I ain't even got that much left. I'm about to get up out of here. But people, I'm gonna see if I can get my brother True up in here later. I'm going down in the studio. We go live. We can pick up on this boxing. We'll be back on this channel doing another live with me and him being there. We'll talk about this boxing shit. You know what I mean? Give y'all just a little taste of the new show get ready to come up soon. That we, with the boxing show on OBF the Family Channel, people. But yeah, let me just say this last thing. We're gonna get out of here. Because I ain't got that much left. Yep, let me get the fuck out of here. Never mind. It's your boy, Mr. OBF. Leave your comments, hit that like button, support your boy. Peace and love to the world.